What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to go over the controls, inputs, and outputs on the RD1000.1. So now let's learn a little bit more about our amplifier by going over the controls, inputs, and outputs. So starting with this side of the amplifier, you have all of these terminals here. So let's start with these speaker terminals. You have two sets of positive and negative terminals, which opens up a lot of different options for wiring your sub. You can use both terminals at the same time, or you can bridge them together by using the one positive and the one negative terminal. And inside the manual, you can find out more info on how you can wire your amplifier to your subwoofers, how to match the impedance of the amplifier, and much more. Next to that, we have the power terminals to power the amp. So you would run the line out of your 12 volt terminal to the 12 volt of your battery, the remote terminal to the ignition of your vehicle, and the ground terminal to the metal chassis of your vehicle. So now let's take a look at the other side of our amp. So right here we have the power LEDs. The power LED will light up when the amp is powered on. Underneath that we have the protection LED to let us know that there is a malfunction with the amplifier. And then we have the clip LED, which will tell us if the amp is getting too loud or distorted. Next to that, we have the bass equalizer, which acts as a bass boost. So if you feel like you want a little more bass in the mix, you can use this dial here, and you can raise this up to 12 dB if you wish. Next, we have the low pass filter, which allows the low end frequencies to come through the amp. So for example, if we set this to 100 Hertz, everything from 100 Hertz and below will come through. And then we have the subsonic high pass filter to allow high end frequencies to come through. For example, if we set this to 30 Hertz, everything from 30 Hertz and above will come through and nothing below. If the enclosure that you're using with your subs is ported, you're actually going to want to set the subsonic high pass filter to the tuning frequencies of that enclosure. You can find out what the tuning frequency of that enclosure is by either looking at the manual or looking for the specs somewhere online. Then we have the input level to set the volume coming into the subwoofer. This would come into play when setting up the gain for your amplifier and the rest of your setup. And we actually have a video that you can check out on how to do that in case you need any help. Now, if you want to set up your amplifier inside of your vehicle and you're confused about where to run these lines, we actually have a video on how to set up an amplifier to your vehicle that you can check out. Next, we have the RCA input to connect any music source like a head unit to the amplifier. And then we have an RCA output to send the signal from our amplifier out to another source. And lastly, we have the level remote input so we can connect our bass remote knob. So to do that, I'm going to take the included wire here. I'm going to plug one end into the remote input on the amp. Then I'm going to plug the other end into the port here on the back of the remote. So with this, you can control the volume coming out of your subwoofer instead of having to go wherever your amp is installed and making any adjustments on the amp itself. So we have the level knob to do that. So if you want some more bass, you're going to turn it clockwise. And if you want less, you're going to turn it counterclockwise. And there's a couple of LEDs on the remote as well. So we have the power LED to let us know that our amp is still powered on. And then we have the clip indicator to let us know that our amp is getting too loud or distorting. And this is really big because if it is getting too loud and you see this light coming through, all you have to do is lower the level knob here. So hopefully this helped explain all of the controls, inputs, and outputs for the RD1000.1. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.